And welcome back to RealAg Radio. It's now time for a product spotlight with Alpine. We're talking to Steve McQueen. He's Alpine's agronomy manager for Canada. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today, Sean?
I'm doing awesome. So, Steve, today we're going to talk about maximizing fertilizer efficiency with Alpine's Bio-K. Let's talk about this product and the benefits that it offers.
Yes, I think we're looking at the Alpine Bio-K. It's a potassium form that is very readily available to the plant. I think the most important thing we look at is every potassium source, as a cation has an anion attached to it, and the anion that we have here is acetate, actually.
Okay, and when we talk about potassium, a lot of times when we think about fertilizer, we think of nitrogen, but potassium actually, from a use standpoint, is actually even more so.
Yeah, I think what we find is a lot of time we concentrate on nitrogen, the available of nitrogen, and putting, like a lot of times we are trying to solve all our problems with that. But we look at the majority of the usage rates of nutrients within plants, so you'll find that potassium surpasses nitrogen in a lot of the different plant uptakes through the growth stages. And the other part is, where potassium is hugely used for water management and nitrogen use efficiency within the plant. So it's nice to look at how do you keep them balanced rather than just looking at them individually.
Let's talk about the availability of P&K in the soil and how that relates to plant uptake and what you can do to maybe enhance the process.
Yeah, so I think a lot of times we do concentrate on the nitrogen and phosphorus that we have in the soils, and a key part to making that move through in the plant is water management and nutrient movement within the plant. A key thing we see here is that potassium is always part of that movement of nutrients through the plant. We have the ability for potassium to manage the water, and when we're looking at moving nutrients from the roots back up into the plant, it's all based on being carried by water. And so as potassium is key for managing the stomata, the opening, and that whole transpiration, it actually is what really starts to drive the ability for plants to take up the phosphorus and the nitrogen.
So if I'm going to be using Alpine Bio-K in the coming year, what am I going to see? Where are the results going to really show themselves?
So what we like to look at is right out of the gate. We know that if we can get the Bio-K, in furrow near the seed, we can start that microbial activity increase in the soils, which again start allowing us to basically allow more nitrogen and phosphorus become available in the soil itself. And then key to that, we take the nutrients available that have become available because of added potassium, and now we can move them up in through the plant. And it's almost like it acts as it's a metabolizer within the plant. It's going to pick up the metabolism within the plant. And that all keys into how much nutrient we can actually move, how quickly we can move that in the plant to get our plant, that whole base built ahead of time, so we can actually get uniform germination and uniform emergence and start that basically plant health and strength right out of the gate.
Which crop types should I really be considering Alpine Bio-K?
Yeah, so I think potassium has a key, basically plays an important role with every plant. It doesn't really matter what it is; it's part of those. So again, the big three when it comes to macronutrients. So every plant has a different use rate of potassium. I think you see the corn is really huge. It just never drops below the nitrogen need within the plant. But all legumes are also looking for that potassium source, and it's going to help with a lot of the nitrogen fixation and again just building uniform plant health.
Before we wrap up here, hit on this increased microbial activity.
Yeah, so the big thing about Bio-K is not that it just has the potassium source, which is very available. It also has the acetate. And what we find there is that's actually a food source for microbials. So when you add Bio-K, into your cropping plan, what we do is we're increasing the ability for the plant to take nutrients up. We also increase the exudations into the soil. And it's the exudates that go into the soil that actually allow us to feed microbials. And those microbials then increase the ability for soils to release more NP, which again enhances the whole uptake. It starts that whole basically uninhibited chain reaction between plant root growth and allowing microbials to be incorporated into the whole idea of nutrient management.
Steve, if somebody wants more information on Alpine Bio-K, where do they go?
Yeah, for any information, you can actually get a hold of your DSMs. If you go on to our website at Alpine, you'll be able to contact your DSMs as well as get a hold of some of our dealers that actually have our nutrient management book or our Maximizing Fertilizer Efficiency Handbook, which gives us a lot of information.
We've been talking to Steve McQueen. He's Agronomy Manager for Canada with Alpine. Steve, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a great day.